see, look myself up to see how the camera is hanging. I think should be pretty good. Like this. But let me check. I think this should be fine. Like that. I will wait like 1 more minute and then I'll get started. Hoi Lina, lang geleden zeg. Let me scroll up a little bit actually so you can see the chat better. Yay, there we go. Been so long. Beetje bijgekomen van de beurs. Good, good. Yeah, us as well. Like the Monday, I did nothing. Like I was just on the couch and falling asleep. But it was super fun, so it was definitely worth it. But after the Monday, it was fine. Just needed 1 day of rest. Okay, everyone, let's get started. I'll first start by showing what we will be making today. I showed a sneak peek of this shaker box while I was making it. It's no dice needed. I did use a die for the frame, but you can also do it without. So I will talk more about that when we get going on it. But basically you don't need any dice. And for the frame you can use, I now did a rectangle, but you can use a circle, a heart. Doesn't matter. A square, whatever you have the dice for basically. So a die can be handy, but you could also always cut the frame with just a knife and a ruler. So it's not needed. As you can see, it is a see-through box, like that. You could also leave it as a see-through box, obviously, but I, of course, wanted to add shaker elements into it. For this one, I used a Magic Mail and a Flying Boy stamp set from the Sassy Club and the Sassy Club paper from this Venom 2. Decorated. Also did the back with a stamp, and when you open it, I have made it pretty on the inside and here as well. You could leave this blank if you're like, well, I'm gonna fill it up with lots of goodies. You might want to save this pattern paper, you know. It just decorated how you would like it. As always, I popped up some of the stamps. I used some flowers. You can go anywhere. With this time though, I am gonna use Precious to Me from the Sassy Club. So we'll be doing a Dumbo themed one instead, because I was like, oh, we did Harry Potter, so let's make a Dumbo one. I will use this one set, of course, for the decoration, and I will use this paper pad. It's from Disney. It's called Dumbo. We have it available in the Webshop as well. I'll make sure to link it after the live. Dankjewel, Elina. Thank you. And this all has very great, you have like words, you have some cutouts, and you have pattern paper, and also ones with Dumbo on it, like here, and another one. Let me see, this one, which I already cut size for our box there. Now for the frame, I used the Long Foam Large Stitch Stackables, rectangle stackables, and the frame, but like I said, this can be a circle, a heart, a square, whatever you have the dies for, if you want to make it yourself a little bit more easy. And otherwise you can always cut a rectangle with just a knife, a cutting knife, and a ruler. So you don't need to have dies for it. So I was thinking to start with the box. It's the most easy part of this, which will basically be this bottom part. Yeah, we'll start on that. Nothing really too fancy about it. I also wrote down the measurement. After the live, I will put these in the description box as well, so you can screenshot them. But at least now I know what size it is, so I can tell you guys. You want your box to be a little bit smaller than your lid, of course, because your lid will need to be able to go over your box. So your lid is always a little bit bigger than your box. So for the box, the lid I made 9 by 11 inches. So for the box, I went with 8 and 7/8 by 10 and 7/8. So I just took off a little bit on all sides. Then you will need to score them at 2 inches. So I'm gonna get my scoring board. As you can see here, I hope it's visible on camera, but it's just under 11 inches. See, 10 and 7/8 to be exact, but just make sure it's a little bit under that 11 that your lid will be. Then we'll score that too. Turn it. This is a little bit under 9 again, 8 and 7 inches. Score at 2, and then you just keep turning it until you have scored all 4 sides at that 2-inch mark. Let's put this to the side. I will keep my little post-it so it's easier for me to put it in the description box after the live. Now all you want to do is fold all of these downwards. And I'm doing this big size box now. If you get the method I'm doing, like make your box a little bit smaller than your lid, and you could make these in any size you would like. So that is also a way you could match it to the maybe dies you could use for the window that you already own. And of course you can do anything you like. Just have a crafty friend who loves elephants. So I thought my birthday is pretty far ahead, but I was like, I can use it for her then. So okay, now you have this, all these sides folded. And as you can see, you can already kind of tell, to move this one upward as well, and this, that you get a box. But these squares are in your way to be able to do that. What you want to do, doesn't matter where you start, but on all of these, the long sides basically, you want to cut, I hope it picks up the camera, until your score line right here. Let me put it closer, until there. So you get the flap that you can push downward and upwards, whatever. What I also like to do is sort of trim that one. So just cut off, come here you, a slither on both sides, just to, you know, take down some of the bulk. It's not needed, but I feel like it works well like that. If you guys have any questions, by the way, feel free to ask me or later in a PM, doesn't matter. But now you can see you can fold this. On this side, we cut it, yeah? So on this side, you want to have it attached to this one. So we're going to turn it, leave this side attached, and then cut it from this side. So what you basically want to remember is that each of these 4 long sides will have one side where you cut it, and one side where the little squares are attached to it. I hope that makes sense. I will show the finished like cutting in the video, so you can always reference it. But I'm gonna do the same here. cutting off some of the bulk. Here we cut it from this piece, so here we'll leave this one attached and start cutting it here. And this way, this is basically the basic of any box, the bottom part. And then the top part just needs to be a little bit bigger. And again, here we cut it, so here we're gonna leave it attached. And that matches because here we left it on, and here we gotta cut it. And you could also do a closed lid if you feel like maybe the shaker is a bit much. Then you could also start with just a normal lid and work with that first. See if you get the hang of it, and then move on to the shaker box. Just do whatever you want. Yeah. I'm gonna see because I do have some layering pieces for our box, and some we can already attach. It will go like this. Inside, inside. See? Then you have your bottom of your box ready to go. Some of it we can already glue on. Like this, I find it more easy to do it now when it's still flat. But these inside pieces I will do later, because then we can cover up the flaps. It's always nice to cover that up and instead of having them visible. But the bottom part can already attach when it's still flat. I wish my glue would work with me. Let me give it a little. There we go. I will show the measurements I did for the layering pieces in a bit as well, you guys. And I will also put it in the description box below. Just gonna use my bone folder to push that in. So for the layers, I used for the bottom 2 pieces of 4 5/8 by 6 5/8. So those are these two. I just like to put some white one on the back with my stamp that I made it, and you can write a message, but you could leave the bottom part off, so then you only would need one of these pieces. Then I've got 4 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 6 5/8. In this case, I did it out of this cute Dumbo paper again. And I got 4 pieces that are 1 3/4 inch by 4 5/8. And these are for these sides. Like I said, the inside parts I'm gonna leave for now. And you could already glue this on, but I'm not sure yet if I want the like teal color on the outside or on the inside, and the pattern paper on the in or the outside. So I'm gonna, leave that for now. But again, don't worry about the measurements. I will definitely put it below as to the live, so you can always reference it and screenshot it or write it down somewhere. Then you just put glue on your tab and fold it in, and then just give it a second to dry. Of course, I made a mess with having glue everywhere. There we go. It kind of folds itself, you guys. If you folded those score lines, it kind of goes together like it should. I just always like to do the tabs on the inside, because the outside will be most visible, so that one will be the neatest side, basically. It's the only reason. And to reduce some bulk on the outside to make extra sure that your box is smaller than your lid. And we're gonna add our glue here. You could also use some construction glue that is a bit more sturdy. And by that I mean this one, just a cheap Colol Alles Line all-purpose glue. But I have this in a really big bottle. I I'm a dumbass. I didn't realize how much 500 milliliters was. I need to put it in a smaller one, but I don't have them anymore. So, but just your normal glue. This is my Barely Arts glue. Also works. Okay. And that last step. And I tend to like to go over it with my bone folder, like on the inside, which is difficult to see on camera. But I just, you know, go like that. And there you have your box. Not fully decorated yet, of course, but I, like I said, don't know if I would like these pieces to go on the inside of the box or on the outside. So I'm just gonna put this in here so I don't lose them. But that is our, you know, the bottom of our box. So this is pretty easy. Then let's go on to our lid here. Like I said, I chose a rectangle. You could do anything. Let me close up my glue because this is gonna get clogged otherwise. Basically the same as your bottom, only this one is 9 by 11 inch, and we're also gonna score it at 2 inch. Because I want a nice height in my box. Like I said, if you have the how this works, making a box down, you could do any size you want. Okay, 11 side, well, it doesn't matter, on all sides. We're gonna score again at that 2 inch. Like so. Take this away. Now, I already put down with my pencil a rectangle. I keep wanting to say square, you guys. I don't know why, but it definitely is a rectangle. I did that, like I said, with this die. If you have one of those big die cutting machines, which fit 12 by 12 paper, you could just stuck this down and run it through your die cut machine, and you would get the perfect rectangle in this case, or the perfect heart, the perfect circle, whatever you choose to do. But I don't have that. Well, I do actually, but I'm always too lazy to pull it out. But I also wanted to show like a way you could do it if you don't have one, so it's double fun. Then here you can see I already, this one I did do with my die cutting machine, and this one is a little bit less big than the square you would have on the inside here. This one is 7 by 5 inch. So I got this just below 7. It's difficult to see on camera, but it's just a little bit smaller than 7 inch, and this one is a little bit smaller than 5 inch. Then I just lined up my die in it and run it through my die cutting machine, and then you have this perfectly cut window. I also used the frame, the big one, which I just hold somewhere, this one, to cut some frames to make it nice and pretty once it's all attached. But you could leave that off or cut it yourself, like the way, how wide this is, 1/4 of an inch square, or use some ribbon to go around the edges, pad and paper, your images, like just make it pretty again. So those I cut as well. And then I just laid this one on top here, as you can see, and my pencil ran along these openings, along these lines, and then you get this, and then we'll hand cut that. So let me grab my cutting mat, and I'm just using one of these knives. I mean, there's a sticky part on here. Let me be sure I don't stick it in my finger. Ideally, you want to use metal ruler. I don't have a metal ruler, so I'm gonna try it with a plastic. I did it before, it works. Sometimes you just kind of cut into your ruler, so I would definitely suggest a metal ruler, which I will pick up later this week or something to have it on hand for boxes, because that might be way better. And I think you can just get them at the Action or something, like these metal rulers. They don't have to be expensive, but then at least you don't cut into your ruler. Okay, I'm just gonna line this up as best as I can, and it will not be perfect, well, at least for me, because you guys know getting things straight is never my forte, but with the frames and the decoration you can always cover up some of your, well, mistakes is a big word, but I did not cut it deep enough, but I'm gonna see. Okay, there we go. Just going to put a little bit more pressure this time. Hope my head is not in the way. I need to move up a little bit maybe. Move my cutting mat. There we go. I'm gonna start there. Yay, that worked better. And then of course we're just gonna do this on all four sides so we get our window. Do have a big die cutting machine, then you could get it perfect like I said, because you can just use your die. But I wanted to show it if you don't, because I feel like most of us have the normal size cutting machine, die cutting machines, and not the bigger ones. And you can do this with circle and everything, yeah? Just cut it, use your die cutting machine to cut it out of your covering piece, then use your pencil to draw and cut it. You could also use scissors. You just make an opening here and use your scissors. But I'm not good at cutting straight, as you guys know. So I'm just using this. My son came out of his bed, if you guys heard that. I think he hurt himself a little bit, so Edward is taking care of it so we can keep going. There we go. Let's see if we can. I think I need a new knife. It's a little bit sharper. Yeah. For this piece on it, I'm gonna use a little bit of my scissors to cut through this. There we go. Now we're gonna do, at least I like to do as much as possible while it's still flat, like I said before. So I'm gonna turn it around to our inside. And I got a piece of acetate. That is a 4 1/4 by 6 1/2. Depending on what shape you use on your inside, of course, it can be different. But you see this fits perfectly. Could have done it a little bit wider here, but I think it will be good enough to cover things up. So I'm just gonna use some double-sided tape. So I like to use double-sided tape with acetate. And I'm just gonna go all around edges here. There we go. And I'm going to use a small one. You want to make sure everything is covered, of course, because we don't want our shaker to be leaking. So I'm just going to pull this up a little bit and make sure everything has that double-sided tape. Wish it would work with me. There we go. Upset. See, now it nicely goes all to the edges. There we go. Now let's take off our backing pieces. But if you do another size, just make sure it's smaller than this inside biggest part of your box, because you do want to be able to still fold it, you know. There we go. Then just fold that on there. There we go. We'll have this. Now we want to do the same we did on our bottom part. Just put all of these down. There we go. And then the same principle. So on each of these 4 longest sides, you want 1 cut and 1 attached. And that is the same as on your bottom. So, and I like to remove some of the bulk. So we cut it here. This one is attached, so this one we cut loose. This one is attached, so this one we cut loose. So you basically go about it like that. Every of those long pieces. You could also use your trimmer for this. I did that. I normally do it with my trimmer, cutting until the score lines and on those score lines, because like I said, I'm not that good with cutting straight with my scissors. But I felt like that would be very hard to see on camera, since that will get everything a little bit bulky. Okay. Now what I do want to do is, while this is still flat, is make up my decision about the layers. I'm having difficulty choosing, you guys. I really have a difficult time choosing this. Yeah. Okay, well, let's first cover this up. Let's start with that, so I can, you know, have a little bit more time deciding what I want to do. That extra piece we got, I'm using for that. Also gonna use glue, but also some double-sided tape right here to get rid of that acetate. For this one, I also did it with pattern paper, but for this one I will not, but I will show you how to do it, because I am going to do it on front and the back is exactly the same, so then you would just have to do it 2 times. But I felt like no one will look at that back of the box, of the lid anyway, so I think it's a lot of work for nothing, but you definitely could. There we go. Oops. I'll also grab some glue, definitely on the outsides of this. Like that, so we have some wiggle room. this is too close. Ooh. Gonna put my head in the way probably, but yeah, it's better. And now we have covered up that ugly double-sided tape with another piece of our base. You can do the base in any color you want as well, of course, yeah. And now I just used a 12 by 12 craft paper, but for the Harry Potter one I used a blue. And for another theme I want to do, when Sassy Club arrives, I did like this teal colored cardstock as the base. To white, black, whatever you want. And again, this is basically the same as what you did with your box. There we go. And that side. And last one. Just make sure we'll hold it up in a bit. These lines, these corners, will line up as good as you can get them. There we go. Then we have the base of our shaker box. Let's see if we can put this over the bottom. I always like to check before you go full out. And it does. There we go. You could make some notches here to make it easier, but I always feel like once it's a bit more sturdy, that it comes off a bit more easy as well. Now we have this. Now we want to, of course, make this more pretty as well, and for this part side as well. So I am going to attach this frame in there first. And then we'll cover up our front and turn it into a shaker. So I'm using my double-sided tape again, since we are working with our acetate. I'll use a little bit of glue just to give myself some wiggle room to align it. Oops. Oh, that was the paper, not the... There we go. Let me grab some tweezers, that will make it a little bit more easy as well. Gonna add a little bit of room. Glue. I don't know why it said room there, but yeah. There we go. Gonna grab it. Turn this over. This is where the fiddly part begins. Oh, that wasn't too bad actually this time. Then just use our bone folder to make it nice and secure. And this way, the inside is pretty neat as well. You could measure and cut your pattern paper for the inside as well, like I did on this one. But I feel like it's not needed. How many people would turn that upside down? You look at the front and the inside, you know? So I'm gonna leave that, but you could. Now the front looks horrendous. So we will fix that. I do want to use, let me see what paper I would like to use for that. I was thinking about this thicket one. Now I'm thinking that might be a little bit busy. So I might go for the yellow. So I'm gonna grab that. Now we will measure this together. What we will need. This one is 7 by 5 inch. So I'm just gonna go a little bit below 5 inch and a little bit below 7 inch. There we go. Then in my case, I will grab my die. Like I said again, if you don't have a die, you can trace it again and do it by hand, of course. Just look at what you have. I'm just gonna lay this on here and grab some tape. Feel where that line is. Cannot see it obviously, but I can feel it. There we go. I'm gonna run this through my die cutting machine. There we have our layering piece. So let me put this away. Now to turn this into this see-through shaker, we of course would also need another acetate piece to cover this up, and we would need some height for them to be able to move. So let's start with our height. It's basically a shaker card, but then on a box. I'm just going to use my phone. Make sure you don't go all the way to the edges like I did here. I'm going to make this a little bit shorter because our layering piece is a little bit smaller than your lid. You don't want it to be visible. You just go around like you would do with a shaker box. I think for this it would be a little bit far away. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, that would be a bit thick. So I'm going to measure this somewhere around here. I'm just going to cut it through half with my scissors. And I think we should have enough for both sides. Make sure it's nicely closed. And by closed, I mean that it's connecting with this one and with that one. This is just the same as building a shaker card, you guys, just on top of your box. Nothing fancy. And there are lots of ways to make a box like this. This is just how I do it. Maybe you see that and you think, oh, find this or that way more easy, you go ahead and do that, of course. So now again, we'll need a piece of acetate. Just gonna grab it. There we go. I'm gonna use my double-sided tape again. And go around here. This is a bit of the boring part, you guys, attaching all these double-sided pieces, but yeah, I could not really do it beforehand because it still needed to be cut. Although I could have done the frames beforehand, but hey, didn't think about that. But it's okay. Just gonna do the frame as well since we have it out now. There we go. Take a sip of my drink. Where is my drink? Here. And burnish that in. Grab our acetate. Put some marks on there. Well, no, I'll measure it for you guys. This is just below 7. That one was just below 5. So I'm gonna cut that piece as well. I'm gonna do this off to the side because another die cutting machine here. Or die cutting, not die cutting. Trimmer. There we go, just under 5 and just under 7. I'm just gonna see, it's a bit too wide because we'll get overlap. So I'm just gonna cut off some little bits here and there. So, you know, just measure this and cut it to the right size, not that intricate. Yeah, that works better. There we go. And there, and I'm gonna use a little bit of glue again to give myself a little bit of wiggle room to get things straight. Although, as long as the window is covered up, you could also use your scissors to trim it into the right size. So it's not that important for this one, but I'm still gonna try. There we go. Finish that. Turn it around. And we can add our frame. You don't even need the frame. I just find it a nice touch, but it's not needed necessarily. Oh, and then we get to pick some sequins in a bit. I haven't made up my mind yet, so hopefully I will pretty fast. There we go, a little bit of glue again. So the boxes itself don't take that long. It's just all the decorating will still need to be done, and all this sort of stuff take a bit, but I do find it really fun to do this for people's birthdays holidays. You could do a Christmas box, Halloween. I like this to put some gifts in for someone's birthday. There you go. And now this little frame will go up here. See? And then all we need to accomplish that is put in some shakers. Yeah. Let's kind of see, because we have yellow, we have teal, we have red, and gray, of course, from our Dumbo and from our paper. So I'm just kind of seeing. I definitely want some just iridescent sort of ones. They always match with everything. Well, let's start with those. They match with everything and anything. Then let's do, let me think. I think some holographic silvery ones would be nice to bring out Dumbo's color. And again, you can match this to your theme, or you know, just let it be a see-through box. It doesn't have to be a shaker. I want to add some red because we will add a lot of red details. So I do also want to use some red ones. And I want to use some yellow ones, but I'm checking. Yes, I do have them. I restocked them. Luckily they were finished, so I was already hoping I had some new ones. Just like to shake it to see if it's full enough, and I do want quite a bit there, so I'm gonna add a little bit more of the yellow. Well, all of them. A little bit of the red. I don't want it full that you cannot look through it anymore, but it's quite a big box, so I do want it like, you know, there must be something to see shake. I think something along these lines is good. I'm gonna clean up my acetate on this side. Just gonna use a little bit of alcohol and clean it up. Should have done that on this part as well, but that's too late now. Just take out our double-sided, or not a double-sided, our foam tape here. And I do like to make it a little bit flat. Oops. And again, some glue for wiggle room. Not too much because we'll seep through. Nice and clean. My head, I'm gonna stand up, so my head might be on the way, you guys, but I want to line this up as good as I can. There we go. And then I like to turn it over and go in here to press down that foam tape. As you see, it didn't line up perfectly right here, but it's okay with decorations and stuff. Here you go. That is your shaker lid. Let me put it onto our box. Great. So now it's time to decorate this. Okay, let me see. I have the lid layers as well. They're the same size as the box layers at the 1 3/4 of an inch, but it is 6 3/4 of an inch and 4 3/4 of an inch. 4 of each again. I will put these in the description box again. I am pretty sure I want this like pattern with Dumbo on the sides, because I think I want to be, you know, have them be visible. And I think I will, looking at the time, we'll just do all the layering pieces, and then I'll show you what I was thinking to do on the front, and then finish that off camera, but then you can see how I decorated it. This takes longer than I thought. I thought I had everything covered, and I was actually scared that I wouldn't be able to fill the full hour, but oops. And there's all those layering. I would suggest doing layering pieces. You could even do it with, you know, not pattern paper, but just a teal color or whatever your fits your theme. But it gives your box sturdiness, because those layers of paper really make it more heavy, and that way a much more sturdy box. So I would suggest, but as always you do you, but I do suggest doing layering pieces to give strength to your box. And there we go. Make sure you put them on the right side if you use directional paper, of course. Thank you, Elena. Yeah, these shaker boxes are fun. I want to make them all kinds of Sassy Club themes now. Did the Harry Potter one, I want to do a Mario one, Dumbo one, Sleeping Beauty one, so yeah. I think you'll be seeing more of those, but then with different windows. So now the question of the day. Well, no, let's finish our lid first on the inside actually, before we break our head on the bottom part. But I also got the same layering pieces for the inside of the box. And I like to put them like this, so, you know, that way. So here, if you look at your box like this from the outside, it's the right way. But these, I feel like people would lay it down, so I like to go like that with the Dumbo at the top in that direction, but again, you do you. And I'm just gonna lay these on the inside. I will cover up those flaps we used to secure everything together as well. See, here you can still see those flaps. Here it's nicely covered, so. Yeah, do it, Rosalina, about the different themes, I mean. You mean? Yeah, I had the Sleeping Beauty one ready to go actually for this live, but the paper pad wasn't here, so I needed to choose something else, which is not a bad thing, because I want to make all lots of sizes and frames and themes anyway, so it's not a big issue. Just have the base all ready to go for when it comes in. Oh, this is not straight. This glue, this barely art glue, you guys, it dries so fast, which is great. But also can be a hassle if you do not get it straight. And then just this side. There we go. And like I said, in the other box I measured these as well and laid them in, which you can do. I feel like almost no one bother, because this will be nicely decorated, you know. Then you take it off and put it aside. But like this, it also looks decent. It's not like you can see everything you did to secure it in place, but you can always cover it up more if you want to. let's see, because this would slide off. Do we want that to be the same? I think I want this in that teal actually. And the inside. And the other one. Or I could do 50-50 even. Well, we have to do 50-50 actually, because I only cut. Huh. Yeah, that works too. Well, this is a little bit of an accident, you guys, but what we'll do, it's a bit fun, different than on the Harry Potter one as well, is use the teal ones on the short sides. Like that. And my logo there. Nice and secure. And then on the inside pieces we will do the decorative one, or on the long pieces I must say. Just finish the inside of the box for now. And then off camera I will put those steel collars on those two small sides as well, and the Dumbo on those two sides as well. And my white I always like to be at the bottom. Also gives some extra sturdiness, you guys. But then we'll start by showing a little bit decorating the front and really make it a Dumbo theme box. I think that's more interesting than seeing me layering the outside the exact same as I'm doing the inside. There we go. Gonna put these back in there so I don't lose them. I'm gonna do my bottom. Let me see. Like that. I was just checking the directional paper. Give it nice sturdiness. Could also do it in the same color, pattern paper, you know, whatever you want. Just gonna turn it around and again finish that a little bit. So we have a nice high box. There we go. I will do these later. You could also leave it plain, and like it's all up to you. I'm gonna close my box. And there we go. Cute. We'll start decorating the front a little bit. Like I said, here I did it with stamps, flowers, sentiments, the border as well. Like whatever you want to do. I did prepare some decorations. This, of course, is from the Precious to Me stamp set from the Sassy Club. And I was thinking we would put little Dumbo right here. And the little mouse right there. Then we have Your Precious to Me. And these are from the PaperPad that we also have in stock from Disney itself. It has some cutter parts. Happy birthday, friend. I thought would be fun to do as a little bit of a sentiment. Then I also got these and I layered them on my same craft cardstock to put in a gift box. So, you know, it's just a nice extra touch, I feel. Yeah. So I will be putting those inside with some presents. But for now, I want to attach these cuties onto my box. I feel like it's a bit too empty for me still. I like full. I always will try to work on the like border, because you do want to see that see-through shake a bit, I feel. But again, you can decorate this any way you want. Gonna start with our cute little Dumbo and mice. And I will use some foam tape behind. Give it a little pop up. cute. Cute, cute, cute. Here's some foam. This is double-sided foam that I had left over from creating a shaker card. And it's quite expensive stuff, so I like to use it all. So the smaller leftovers I like to use as my foam squares, basically. I really love this Dumbo set. I'm happy I got to use it again. It's been a while. That's what you get with all the new stuff, huh? Sometimes the old stuff keeps laying in your cabinet, but it's still fun to use. Yeah, that would be adorable. And I love the foam. It just really helps to make them stand out. And happy we did the yellow background. I still feel like that one print with the Dumbo would have been maybe too busy for the front. I was thinking about doing that initially, but this one could go here, and then I want to have this one popped up as well. So I'm gonna cover this up and attach these together. There we go. And that going on this. Maybe a little bit too long. There we go. Another piece of foam. This is cute. I really like this Dumbo set, you guys. This Dumbo paper we have as well. I'll make sure to link everything below after YouTube lets me. It needs to like finish uploading the live. And then I can add the description box with the sizes of all the cardstock dimensions and all the products used. Cute, cute, cute. And it fits a quite nice amount of presents if you do this size. Like, it's not a small box. And it's pretty high, 2 inches of course, so yeah. Can fit quite some things in there. I was thinking you're precious to me, but since we now use that yellow, I'm thinking I might redo this one out of red and then attach it here. You're precious to me, because I think that will look cute here. Maybe we do it on the frame. Yeah, I think I will do it on the frame. That looks cute. So we'll still do this, and then I'm gonna call it quits for today. The only thing I will do off camera is probably add some flowers or some other stuff on this box because I like it full. And like I said, do this outside. The same as the inside, so with the Dumbo paper and the teal. That's all I will be doing off camera. So I think we came pretty far. I want to attach that sentiment still with you guys so I don't lose it. And if you have any questions after watching this live about the dimensions or the order of things or whatever, as always, just send me a PM or something. I'm happy to help. But I hope it was clear enough. If not, we can always do a YouTube video instead of a live or explain it to you. Okay, there we go. But the basic of making a box is pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And then you could play around with sizes. Maybe you want a smaller box for a smaller gift or a larger box for larger gifts. Although if you use 12 by 12 paper, you can go 1 inch bigger than this. Because we made a 9 by 11. The biggest you can go is 12 by 12, and then you have to do your sides. So I would say 10 by 10 would be the biggest you could go, unless you buy even bigger paper. But yeah, I think that looks good right there. Very fun idea, Dumbo, so cute. Yes, I love Dumbo as well. Yeah, I love everything shaker. So I was doing scrap diva projects with a lot of shaker and boxes. I was like, I wanna make a gift shaker box that is nice and big without having the need of specialty dies. There we go, you guys. I will decorate it further off camera. But this is the other one. And I think they are really adorable. You can see I did do the outside. I'm not sure actually, because I do like the craft paper. That I might just leave it as craft. I don't know yet. Maybe I'll decorate. Maybe I don't, but I know I want to decorate the front just a little bit more. And I will put even more shakers than I did. See this difference? This one has a lot more shakers. I was still too careful, so I would add quite a lot, you guys. But yeah, I hope you guys like this shaker box, and be sure to hit me up if you have any questions at all. And I wish you all, of course, a very nice Sunday, last day of the weekend. So hope you enjoy. In the Netherlands it's quite nice, like the weather, so you know. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye bye.